Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin became legends as the first men on the moon. But did you know that one of them was basically destined to become an astronaut? In this video, I'll share the history of these men, including which one wasn't born in the US and which one was a band geek. Let's start with Command Module pilot Michael Collins. He was born on Halloween 1930, the son of James Lawton Collins Sr. and Virginia Stewart. He graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1952. But the Collinses' connection to the military didn't start there. It goes back to Michael Collins's grandfather, Jeremiah Collins, who was born in Ireland. By 1860, Jeremiah was living in Cincinnati, Ohio, with his parents and siblings. Though he was a recent immigrant, he served in the Civil War in the 196th Ohio Infantry. After the war, Jeremiah made his way to New Orleans, where he met and married Catherine Lawton, who happened to be the daughter of the grocer that Jeremiah was working for. Jeremiah and Catherine had 10 children, and 2 of their sons graduated from West Point and eventually became generals in the U.S. Army. Their son, Joseph Collins, Michael Collins' uncle, earned the nickname Lightning Joe because of his speed and aggression at Guadalcanal. Michael Collins' father, James, graduated from West Point in 1907. He went on to be the aide to General John Pershing in the Philippines and during World War I. Michael Collins' parents met and married in Texas when James was stationed there. The family grew quickly and they moved often due to General Collins' assignments. From 1920 to 1940, the family moved at least 5 times. That 1930 date in place? Yes, Michael Collins was born in Rome, Italy, when the family was living there while General Collins was a military attaché at the American Embassy. Michael Collins died on April 28, 2021. Michael Collins wasn't the only Apollo 11 astronaut with ties to the U.S. Military Academy. Lunar Module pilot Buzz Aldrin was born Edwin Eugene Aldrin Jr. on January 20, 1930 in Montclair, New Jersey. He got the nickname Buzz because his sister Faye pronounced brother as Buzzer. Fun fact, he legally changed his name to Buzz in 1988. In high school, Buzz was a star athlete, earning awards as a pole vaulter and lettering in football. Before graduating, Buzz passed up a scholarship to MIT and instead accepted an appointment to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and graduated from there in 1951. Buzz Aldrin's grandparents, Carl and Anna Aldrin, were born in Sweden, and they arrived in New York City on March 30, 1892, with a son and daughter. They could not read or write English, and their possessions were limited to whatever was in the family's 3 pieces of luggage. The Aldrins settled in Worcester, Massachusetts, where Carl worked as a blacksmith. The family grew to 5 children, including Buzz Aldrin's father, Edwin. Edwin Aldrin was no stranger to aviation. At one time, he was the assistant chief of the U.S. Army's Air Service and the chief of the Army Air Service Engineering School. And he was on the logistics team helping Howard Hughes in his record-setting flight around the world in 1938. While Edwin Aldrin was still in the Army and stationed in the Philippines, he married the daughter of the Army chaplain who was stationed there. Her name? Marion Moon. Yes, Buzz Aldrin's mother's maiden name was Moon. How could he not end up becoming an astronaut? So what about Neil Armstrong, the first man to set foot on the moon?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
His story begins in the small town of Wapakoneta, Ohio, where he was born on August 5, 1930. The son of Stephen Armstrong and Viola Engel. Unlike Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong wasn't an athlete in high school. Instead, he played baritone in the school band. He also rose to the rank of Eagle Scout. Another difference between Armstrong and his Apollo 11 crewmates is that he didn't have an appointment to West Point waiting for him. Instead, he earned a scholarship to Purdue University as part of the U.S. Navy's Naval Aviation Program. More than 50,000 young men applied. Only 1,500 were selected. One thing that Neil Armstrong did have in common with Michael Collins and Buzz Aldrin were ancestors who came to the U.S. in the mid to late 1800s. In fact, 4 out of Neil's 8 great-grandparents were born in Germany and settled in Auglaize County, Ohio. Neil Armstrong died on August 25, 2012. Shortly after his death, his family released a statement. For those who may ask what they can do to honor Neil, we have a simple request. Honor his example of service, accomplishment, and modesty, and the next time you walk outside on a clear night and see the moon smiling down at you, think of Neil Armstrong and give him a wink. Your family doesn't need to have an astronaut to have amazing stories. So if you want to find out which stories are hiding in your family's past, go watch this video next.